Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wench Bench, where friends sit and talk about fabulous fictional females and how their stories have influenced us throughout our lives. My name is Fonda.
And my name is Alison.
Today, Alison is going to be talking about Kim Possible. Kim Possible. I hope other people have it in their head now. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Do you remember how awesome that theme song was?
I loved it.
It was so good.
Call me, page me. You want to page me? I loved it.
When you want to page me, it's okay. It does not age particularly well. But that's okay. So yes, today we are talking about Kim Possible. We're going to go on a super fun nostalgia trip. I'm hoping at least a few of our listeners are there with us. Some 90s kids who just want to relive a fun show from the early 2000s. And just have a great time. So today we are talking about Kim Possible, the title character of an animated Disney show. It ran for 4 seasons, beginning in 2002 and ending in 2007, with a total of 87 episodes.
Wait, 2007?
That's when the last season ended.
Oh!
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
realizing.
only watched the first 3 seasons because it seemed like there was like a pause in the middle. I don't 100% remember, but I do vividly remember the first season, and I pretty well remember 2 and 3, and then the 2 movies as well.
Yeah.
But I don't super remember the 4th season. Some of them sound familiar, but I definitely plan on getting Disney Plus again and watching the shit out of this show. And then that song will be stuck in my head forever.
For eons.
For eons and ages. As I mentioned, there were 2 movies, A Stitch in Time and So the Drama. Apparently, in 2019, there was also a live-action film that received mediocre reviews, and I did not watch it. But that's okay. The show follows a high school student named Kim Possible as she traverses through high school drama and saving the world. Along for the ride is her best friend, Ron Stoppable, and his pet naked mole rat, Rufus. They are also aided by a 10-year-old computer genius named Wade, who rarely leaves his room but helps out the duo by utilizing a device he made called the Kimmunicator, which I totally wish I had when I was a kid, because it had like a video screen on it, and like it kind of looked like a BlackBerry. It was super awesome, but in a world where most people only had some not great flip phones or Nokia phones or whatever was out at the time, that was pretty darn cool.
Oh man, frickin'. I remember when everyone thought Blackberries were the shit.
Yes, I did have a BlackBerry.
I wanted one.
In like grade 12.
Wanted one real bad.
I was super excited about it. It was not great.
You got it, you're like, ah, shit.
Yeah. Turns out those buttons are very, very loud and get super annoying. So I couldn't text my friends in class.
Oh, you were that person!
Everybody was that person. We just got phones. Well.
I listened and kept my phone in the locker.
No.
Alison's looking at me with such disappointment.
My grade 12 year was kind of a joke. I went to trade school for half of it and took like super easy courses for the second half. So yes, I did text in class. At this time in children's TV, there were not many female-led shows. So Kim Possible was kind of a juggernaut for its first season, since it was popular among all genders and of many different age groups. And I think that we were probably the perfect age for the show, like between 10 and 13.
Yeah.
Like really easy to connect with that. we weren't quite in high school yet, but like it was still really exciting. And
It was. I remember, okay, so 2002, I was in like just getting into intermediate level for elementary school. So like
Yeah.
5, 6, 7.
yeah.
Like just around there is when I started. 2002, I think I didn't quite get into it yet. I was in like grade 3 and I was into other things, like still really into Sailor Moon.
Loved Sailor Moon.
But yeah, no, it was like, oh my God, it was like, I enjoyed it so much. I like sought after it whenever I could. If it was on TV, I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
If a friend was watching it, I was like, hell yeah. I know there was like on, I don't remember what the Disney website's called now, but when like I would go over to friend's house and they had a computer, I remember being like, I would want to play one of the like online Kim Possible games. Where you're
Yes,
playing
I
Kim.
remember that. Oh my god.
Yeah. And I chose her game all the time.
That's amazing. I totally
so-
forgot about that.
Right? So I like vividly remember like really enjoying.
I have to look that up one of
And I
these days.
wanted to dress up as her, but I also didn't because of her tiny crop top
Her
to the
tiny
belly
crop top.
button. And my mom wouldn't let me, so that was vetoed.
That is definitely a look I would not have ever rocked in high school, but now that I am a more confident person who, you know, is body positive and loves myself, I would 100% rock a crop top and some cargo pants. I did wear a lot of cargo pants in high school, though.
I didn't.
I loved cargo pants.
I would have loved to try some for sure.
Yeah.
Dang, I missed out.
They were amazing. So many pockets.
Anyways,
Anywho, the whole series actually still holds an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, and season 1 is still holding strong at 100%.
oh yes, claps
And
to that.
I get that because holy shit, when I was looking up like the seasons and I was reading the synopsis on each of like the episodes, I remember like every fucking episode of season 1. It is so good. There's so many good episodes and I'm so excited to watch it again one day. I did watch a couple off of some like not not great streaming sites. But they were so fun. I had a great time. The show kind of plays around in a world similar to James Bond, where there are supervillains and spies, all kind of like going about the world. But unlike many of those types of formats, she does not have a secret identity. Her schoolmates know what she does, and she is quite popular and a head cheerleader.
Head cheerleader.
Her parents are both scientists, and she has younger twin brothers.
Fuck the tweebs.
The tweebs. I didn't have a younger brother, but I know you did, so I feel like that probably hit you harder than it did me.
It did. Yeah, it did. Love my brother. I do. At the time, I think anyone that has a younger sibling could say that when you're quite young, they do get on your nerves. And
That's fair.
And I understood her. And I was like, you got 2 of them.
Got 2 of them.
2.
It was one of my favorite shows because, first of all, it followed a girl, and second, she was competent and capable, and her friend Ron is the one who takes the lovable sidekick role and is often needing to be saved by Kim, which is nice that she's not the damsel.
Do you think they were inspired to name him Ron because Harry Potter was really big at the same time?
Maybe.
Because I'm
don't
thinking
know.
about that, and I'm like,
Ron Weasley was also a lovable comedic break
Yeah.
sidekick character.
and he had a rat and
Yeah.
and
They
and
both
this rat
had
has a mole
rats.
rat. Just curious. That probably has
Maybe.
no ground whatsoever.
Probably not. But it is an interesting connection.
Thank you.
What is it? Collation does not equal causation.
Yeah. yeah.
The show is also funny and witty with good animation and is both personally and critically considered one of Disney's most successful animated series.
Oh. You go, Kim Possible.
Kim doesn't really have superpowers. She's just really good at a lot of things. And she learns things quite quickly, so she is very smart. And she is strong both mentally and physically.
You go, girl.
Cool. I also liked that Kim's dating life, although ever present, wasn't particularly significant until we got closer to the end of season 3. So although she always did have like crushes and boys and things, that's not really what a lot of the stories were about. Most of the episodes were about either her relationship with her friends or her family and her saving the world. Like, it wasn't always all about boys, which some other shows at that time I found were really bad at that.
Yeah, focusing too much on the crush.
Yeah. So for her significant relationships, we're going to start with her mom.
Her mama!
Her relationship with her mom is so interesting because you do get to see, like, a real understanding and bond grow between them throughout the different episodes. They do get a lot of time to connect and be closer friends, which is so interesting because so much of Disney doesn't have moms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of our female heroines from the Disney world don't necessarily get that opportunity. I mean, TV shows are different than movies, but as far as their animation stuff is concerned, it is really nice to see in a more fantastical show to see a very real relationship between a mother and a daughter, and something that a lot of people can connect with and see their own relationship in. And hopefully the other mothers act the same way that her mother does, because her mother does learn. She's obviously, like, she tries to, like, be strict and she has the best intentions for her daughter, but, like, she also respects her daughter and she gives her space to have more responsibility and to be a more adult person, which a lot of kids just want their parents to kind of maybe give them a little bit more responsibility, maybe trust them a little bit more with stuff, because even though we are still children, we are capable of more than sometimes what our parents give us credit for.
Yes.
And her parents were really understanding in that. Obviously, they let her go out and save the fucking world.
Not many would at such a young age.
Her mom is also a neurosurgeon, so
smart mom in
super
the
smart.
house.
And we also don't ever see her shamed for being a working mom.
Oh, true.
Which has happened in a couple different TV shows where, like, oh, the mom goes back to work after being a stay-at-home mom, and now, like, you're never here, and, like, all of that kind of shitty drama. Like, her parents are both working professionals, and their children are fine, and, like, it's never looked down upon that her mother is an extremely successful neurosurgeon. In fact, her whole family is super proud of her for it.
Hell yeah.
Which is really cute. Her dad is named James. He is an astrophysicist and a rocket scientist who does support her spy activities, because basically as long as she's not out with boys, he's cool with it.
As a dad tends to be.
He's a very stereotypical early 2000s TV dad in the whole, like, no boys thing, which we can grow out of, but I still appreciate the sentiment behind.
Yes.
He's also just so supportive of his daughter, and they do also have a lot of episodes where they do develop a further relationship and a further bond. Then there are her brothers.
The tweens.
Jim and Tim, the tweebs. They are extremely intelligent, often getting into lots of trouble due to their crazy inventions. They will talk to each other in twin speak in the show, which many of our listeners may remember their classic statement and response of "Hickabicka-boo."
Oosha.
I hate it, but I love it. It's so good.
Did they skip grades because they were so smart? I can't remember if they were, like, ahead of their age group. I feel like they were.
I imagine they were. In one of the episodes I rewatched, they're, like, running through the house, and their dad's like, don't run through the house with rocket fuel, and they have this big fucking container. And it's just, like, totally chill.
It's fine.
It's fine. So those guys are awesome. They're super fun. It shows a fun, like, sibling relationship because she very clearly loves them and they do very clearly love her, but they just bump heads so much and it's adorable and I love it. Next we have Ron. Because, of course, we got to talk about Ron.
Yep.
He's Kim's best friend since preschool. They do eventually become boyfriend and girlfriend. He isn't as popular as Kim and is pretty clumsy and goofy. Even though he is seen as mostly comic relief throughout the show, he has saved the world a few times on his own and has been proven to be more capable than many people give him credit for. Which is fair.
Yeah.
I guess.
Alison's like, I don't like this character, but...
No, I like Ron just fine. I just don't think that him and Kim should date. That's all. We'll get into it. I'm still bitter. It's fine. It's been a decade.
Are you sure you're fine?
More than a decade, I guess. Jesus Christ, it's 2020.
Yep.
Then there's Wade, the 10-year-old super genius. He's obviously incredibly smart. He makes lots of inventions and gadgets that Kim uses to, like, fight supervillains, be awesome. Ooh, one of my favorite friend characters for Kim is Monique.
Monique!
Kim's best girlfriend, voiced by the incredible Raven Simone. She's very fashionable and level-headed. She's often seen giving Kim advice. She tends to use acronyms and other things when speaking, which Kim refers to as Monique speech. They have gone on a couple adventures together, and she does eventually design Kim's new mission outfit.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, their relationship is so cute. Like, they do talk about a lot of stereotypical, like, girl things, like boys and clothes, but they're so supportive of one another, and it's just such a cute friendship.
I also appreciated it, especially when, like, her best friend is Ron, but the fact that she can have a best friend who doesn't always want to talk about mission stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that must be really nice to have someone that you can be like, cool.
Kind of like your normal best friend.
My friend who isn't involved in all this crazy shit.
Yes, exactly. The last quote-unquote normal person that I want to talk about in Kim's life is Bonnie.
Bonnie.
Bonnie is Kim's high school nemesis. She is also on the cheerleading squad. She's, like, constantly trying to outshine Kim and usurp her as cheer captain.
Uh-huh.
She is definitely the source of most of Kim's real-world problems throughout the show. So she is kind of that antagonist for that side of things. We do get to see little bits of Bonnie's insecurities, like all good bullies have. Like, there's a reason she's that way. And that kind of character, though, just, like, strikes fear into younger Alison's heart. That, like, super confident, can, like, tear you down with 2 words girl from high school that you're just like, God, you scare me.
Oh, you're intimidating.
There's like a saying somewhere that's like, if you see a woman and she intimidates you, like, you should go talk to her and try and be her friend, because that means that, like, she's doing something right.
Also, I don't know. Now looking back on Bonnie, I also didn't really like her because I was, like, in the perspective of Kim, right? Like, everything we saw was in her perspective. So, of course, I didn't really like Bonnie.
Yeah. I mean, Kim also was probably a bit of a...
Kim
like,
had attitude.
Normal people in the high school, not, like, within Kim's bubble, probably thought that Kim was a bit of a mean girl, too, because she is very, like, judgmental, and she's, like, a huge perfectionist. Yeah. And
she comes from a family filled with intelligent people.
Yeah, like, she would be super scary to, like, know through high school and stuff like that. And it's like she's always saving the world, so I could get how, like, they have a rivalry because they are so similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like now I would love Bonnie very much.
Yeah, probably.
I'd be like, I bet you have, like, really fun girl nights.
Oh, probably.
And I think you probably have a lot to say, and she's probably going to be in a field that's, like, she always seemed, even though she was, like, very fashion forward and stuff, she always had, like, underlying intelligence that I don't think the show explored, because Bonnie wasn't the main side character or something like that.
Yeah.
I like to think Bonnie became, like, because she was so into cheerleading and stuff, like, maybe she became, like, a coach for high school or, like, elementary school. Or maybe she went into some, like, physical therapy thing where she, I don't know. That's, like, personal me headcanon likes to envision Bonnie doing something like that.
Yeah, like, making good on her life.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about some of Kim's villains. She has a lot.
Yeah, I don't even remember many of them.
The list is very long, so I'm going to mention a couple of my favorites, and then I'm going to mention the two main ones that I want to talk about. So first one is Monkey Fist. His real name is Lord Monty Fisk. He's a British noble. He's really good at kung fu, and he got his hands and feet grafted into being like monkey hands and feet. I mostly like him because like, yeah, all of his heists and all of his plans have to do with some sort of like monkey artifact, and it's fucking ridiculous. And Ron is notoriously afraid of monkeys, and so when they fight, Ron gets attacked by his like monkey sidekicks who also all are ninjas, and so he has like a bunch of monkeys that are dressed in ninja outfits that come and fight with him that are so cute. And then there are the seniors. So
Okay.
there's Senior, and Senior Junior. The Senior was originally voiced by Ricardo Montalban, who played Khan in Star Trek the original series. So super awesome. I hadn't realized that, and then when I was doing the research, I was like, oh my god. Like,
Gasp.
And he is an Italian multi-billionaire who takes up villainy as a side hobby. He is very much a classic, like, stereotype of the old school James Bond villains.
Cool.
So he's like, no, we have to follow this rule book about villainy. If we're putting her in a trap and we're going to kill her, we have to leave before she dies, because, like, that's just good villain rules. And, like, you have to monologue and you have to do all of these things. And then his son, Junior, is a classic rich playboy. Like, he's tall, he's muscly, he's supposed to be attractive, but his attitude makes him not.
Yeah.
And he is kind of just dragged along by his father and is almost more of Ron's nemesis than he is Kim's. Because when Kim is fighting Senior, Ron is usually fighting Junior. And they're such a fun pair. I am going to be talking, one of the episodes I'm going to be talking about has to do with them, and it's great. And so now we're going to talk about the two main ones. So first we have Draken, Dr. Draken.
Blue Man.
Blue Man in his blue trench coat with his black gloves.
And his scar across his face. How does he get the scar? Is that ever explained?
I don't remember. It might have been explained in one of the episodes where we find out that he went to college with Kim's dad, and so he hates Kim's dad.
Poor Kim.
He is arguably Kim's arch nemesis, although I personally give that title to Shigo.
Same.
He is obsessed with world domination, and he's really smart, and he makes all of these crazy inventions, but he can never seem to make them work. And, like, he always fucks up somehow. His running gag is that he's always surprised when Kim shows up to foil his plans. So he's like, Kim Possible! Like, what are you doing here? And it's like, she's gonna show up every time. And I actually think at some point Shigo says that. And it's like, she always shows up. Like, what the hell?
How do you think she's not gonna show up?
Now we're gonna talk about Shigo, which is...
Shigo. Da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na.
the only villain that really matters.
Just getting
young Alison
questioning, not knowing maybe I found her attractive.
questions so much about her life when she met Shigo. Shigo was so pretty and cool, and just with her black hair and her awesome green and black outfit. And she just had such a cool attitude. And she made young Alison feel romantic feelings.
It's like I questioned.
And so in my mind, Kim should also be feeling those feelings. And therefore I believe that Kim and Shigo should be together forever.
Shigo's older than Kim, though, right?
I had no concept of that at the age of 11.
Neither did I. Fucking, like, I knew if there was an adult and a parent, but if there was, like, anyone that, like...
Well, it's just...
They physically looked the same.
They physically looked the same.
But Shigo had more experience in, like, how she talked, and, like, she clearly didn't go to school. But I was like, she could have just graduated. And
technically, there is a episode where Shigo, I think, loses her memory or something and becomes a teacher at the school, which brings up all kinds of not good.
No, okay. Okay.
But at that time, that's what I believed.
At the time when you didn't know about wondering the age gap.
Age gaps didn't matter at that point.
Not when you're 10.
No.
You don't really get it. But when you get older, you get it. And then you look back at yourself and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I had questionable interests.
I still think that Kim should just graduate and eventually they will fall in love as two consenting grown-ass adults. And it'll be fine. It'll all work out. But Shigo is super cool. I'm definitely going to do an episode on her in the future because there is a lot more to her. Just some basics, though. She is wanted in 11 countries.
Wow.
And she is clearly Kim's most dangerous enemy, but is somehow Draken's sidekick. She's way smarter than him, all that stuff. But that is a pretty common trope, which acts as that, like, character foil to Kim is Shigo, because they both have their useless sidekick, kind of, which is Ron and Draken. Yep. She was once a superhero alongside her brothers, but left to start a life of villainy, so she does have superpowers. Her hands glow green, and that does a lot of different things kind of in the show, like it's shown to melt stuff, and she does very clearly hold back that little bit when she's fighting with Kim, because looking back on it now, it's very clear that she is obviously an adult, and therefore she does not want to murder a teen. But in my mind, it's because she loved her.
Alison is just like, I'm bringing it back to what I thought. And there was emotion.
She is temporarily turned good in one episode, and her and Kim become friends, showing that they do share a lot in common, except for their, like, morals, I guess.
Except for their morals.
In the series finale, she ends up teaming up with Kim to save the world, and Kim says, "See, you do care," and Shigo doesn't deny it, but she also doesn't agree.
Don't deny.
It is kind of implied at the very end that she gets together with Draken, but I don't think Shigo would ever get together with Draken. She's just far too competent and, like, smart and cool for him.
No, I also agree. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, love is love, but...
Love is love. And clearly, as I have represented here, I believe that Kim and Shigo should eventually fall in love and get together at the end, because I am such a bitch for the fucking villains to romance trope from shows. I love it. Yep. I think it's the best. I'm not a super huge fan of just how much the best friend gets together with the main character in shows from the early 2000s, late 90s, because it happened a lot. And in my life experience, dating your, like, best guy friend has never worked out great. And yeah, I'm not personally a fan of that. I can see why other people might enjoy that storyline. It's not my thing, and possibly this is why. But, you know, that's my hang up. I have to deal with that. Because canonically she is with Ron, and apparently they're in love, I guess.
You should just see Alison's face, dear listeners. She's like residing in the fact that, you know, canon is canon. But deep down, Alison's like, you know.
I will never agree. I'll even probably watch it again and just be like, I still don't agree.
Alison will be like, fuck.
Just be so pissed about it over in the corner. Well, everybody else is like, oh, it's cute. They finally like fell in love and it's okay.
That was me.
Yeah, which I think of all of the ones that I have seen, this one did do it better because Ron was never shown like for a super long time as pining after her. He did have other crushes. She did have other crushes. There were moments where they were like considering it and like there were those kinds of things that happened. And so I do understand how it built to that. Like, I'm not here saying that it's completely unfounded and like
You're like,
bullshit.
Evidence? What evidence? They kissed? No.
They did do a better job than I think a lot of other shows at the time did in regards to that specific type of relationship.
Yes.
So now we're going to talk about 2 really fun episodes now, and then we're going to talk about one of the movies.
Cool.
That is awesome. First episode I want to talk about is Downhill from season 1, episode 5. In this episode, a school trip leads to Humiliation Nation when Bonnie manages to place Kim's parents as chaperones as she struggles with her parents' presence. Kim also has to confront a rogue geneticist named D.N. Amy and her mutant monsters.
Gasp.
So first off, this episode is extremely fun because we get to see Kim going through some very real teen life problems, which is your parents chaperoning a school activity. It doesn't help that Bonnie is constantly pushing them to tell embarrassing stories about Kim, but eventually Kim's dad overhears her talking about how embarrassed she is, and they kind of do that whole like, we don't mean to embarrass you kind of thing where you feel bad for her parents. But then rather than having Kim completely apologize, they both apologize to each other, where Kim apologizes for basically being rude, but they apologize for not realizing that their actions had a consequence on her. And I think that's a really cute lesson to learn, that they're just like, oh, we're sorry. But also, there's D.N. Amy.
D.N. Amy.
Who is so fun.
So
I love
fun.
her so much. She has like a big gap in her front teeth and this like awful haircut. And she is absolutely insane. She actually canonically has a gigantic crush on Monkey Fist.
Aww.
Because she is the one who made his hands and feet. And she's just obsessed with DNA splicing.
Dear God.
Due to her obsession with this splicing, she is kind of hyper-focused on this popular toy line in this world called Cuddle Buddies, which are similar to our world's Beanie Babies. But instead of one animal, they are hybrids, such as Otterfly, Flamingoat, Pandaroo, etc.
I loved Pandaroo, mainly because that's what Kim really liked.
Yeah, that was Kim's favorite. And she uses her genetic knowledge to create real-life cuddle buddies.
Oh.
And in this episode, she turns Kim's teacher into a naked mole man by splicing him with Rufus.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
They eventually save the day, and they kind of nerd out over cuddle buddies.
Okay.
And it's so cute because, like, Kim is super embarrassed about how much she loves her Pandaroo. That's one of the stories that her parents tell. And so seeing her kind of this little, like, crack in her, like, popular armor where she's just like, oh, cuddle buddies is so cute.
Oh,
I love them. It's also a really good blend of the high school versus her spy life. And it kind of just mixes that together in a way that makes you be able to
mashes it together,
connect better as the viewer. Next, we're going to talk about the episode called Animal Attraction, also from season 1, episode 18.
Oh boy, I'm ready. Okay, here we go.
In this episode, Kim falls for the latest craze sweeping Middleton High, animology, which purports to predict personality and romantic compatibility. Along the way, she has to stop Senior's scheme to destroy the Billionaires Club he was kicked out of, and also deal with Animology's prediction that Senior Jr. is her soulmate.
Go no!
Drama.
Drama.
Kim is initially skeptical of this fad, and so she kind of it's like, oh, it's stupid, it doesn't matter, and Ron gets really obsessed with it. And then Kim gets obsessed with it. She finds out she's a blue fox, and she needs to find her yellow trout soulmate.
Oh
she
God.
even goes so far as to get Wade to cross-reference a bunch of stuff from other schools to see who would fit into the
Yellow trout.
the yellow trout who would be that.
Okay.
But
Oh,
as
no.
Kim is getting more obsessed, Ron is writing the whole thing off because he's a pink sloth, which is the lowest of the low.
Oh, Ron.
And terrible. And he's just I don't want to be a pink sloth. Of course, after Kim finds out, there's the whole action part of the story, which is fun and fine. But really, at the end of the day, it's just funny that Junior is just so into this fad that he's just he saves Kim at the end of the day. It's because of him that Kim and Ron survive this attack, because he's no, you cannot hurt my blue fox. Obviously, after finding out that Junior is her soulmate, Kim writes it off, and she's just you know what, Ron, you're right, Animology is a joke. Then Ron states I'm no pink sloth, and then another popular pretty girl is oh good, because a pink sloth is my soulmate. And Ron's no, I am a pink sloth, the lowest of the low, I promise. Come back. It's such a high school thing to get super obsessed with stuff, things like astrology and all of those things where you're so susceptible to those kinds
you're hyper
of
focused on certain things.
Yeah. Those kinds of generational movements where you're just okay, we all have to be focused on this thing, or we all have to do this thing, and you kind of just get caught up in it. Yeah, it's really interesting. I did find the quiz on the Disney Wiki, so I took it.
What are you, Alison?
I am an indigo beaver. My soulmate is a lavender cheetah, and apparently I clash with a blue fox, which makes sense because although I, as a viewer, love Kim, I would hate having her as a friend.
Oh, that's such a harsh word.
She is so perfectionist and everything has to be okay, and she never stops. I am a pretty chill person. I like to just live my life and be fine, but Kim needs to do everything and do everything well and all the time. And I think I am not chill enough like Ron, where I can just ignore that. I feel her energy would just rub off on me in a really weird way. But I love her as a character. But yeah, we would not.
Aww.
I see that. We would not, in real life, be friends.
Glad you can acknowledge it. So Alison is going to have me take the quiz test thing now.
Yes, I am.
As soon as we're done, listeners, you will hear the results. Warning, so far, doesn't give you a lot of options for answers.
No.
It's not like the 16, 17 personality quiz that's really in-depth on
No, and
things.
obviously they didn't want to go and make a full thing, but in the episode it looks like a giant book.
Holy
Kim
shit.
spends all night doing the test to figure out what she is. So Fonda is a fuchsia possum. Her soulmate is a green puppy, and she would be in conflict with a brown iguana.
I just love that I'm in conflict with a brown iguana. Just thinking of it.
Yeah.
If I ever see an iguana that's brown, I'll be I'm in conflict with you.
You and me, we don't get along.
We don't get along.
Yeah, so it's not super crazy, but we'll post a link to the test that we took. And yeah, let us know what you are.
If anyone is a brown iguana, please tell me.
Yeah.
I just want to know in advance.
Yeah. Just in case. And next, I want to talk about the movie A Stitch in Time. In this movie, Draken teams up with Duff Killigan, the world's deadliest golfer, and Monkey Fist to steal the Time Monkey, which is a a statue that lets you travel through time, and they basically want to go back and destroy Kim before she becomes the person who ruins all their plans.
Yeah, no, of course.
It's very entertaining. The first thing that they do is they try and go back in time and like torment her in preschool. But Shigo eventually takes the time monkey after watching them fail a bunch, and then Shigo takes over the whole fucking world.
Oh, Shigo.
And she destroys their lives. She gets Ron sent to Sweden, I think, as like a exchange student, because Shigo realized that Ron was a major part in Kim's success. Without him kind of there fucking up and being a distraction, Kim isn't as successful in her missions.
Oh.
Uh-huh. We get to see this really cool, like, alternate universe future where everybody's buff and sexy. And
the dark,
it's so
pretty
fun.
timeline.
And like,
everyone lifts weights.
Everybody lifts, and everybody has to wear like Shigo jumpsuit colors, so they're all like mindless drones. And Bonnie becomes like a teacher, the re-education teacher.
Oh
and
no! I remember that.
It's so good. And we run into like Wade and Jim and Tim, and they're all jacked, and like Rufus became the genetic print for a bunch of clones of Rufus. And so then all of the naked mole rats are all jacked too, and they can travel through time.
Oh my god.
And
Can they talk too?
they can talk.
Yeah.
And then when Kim and Ron and Rufus go to the future, they keep calling him Rufus Prime and asking for his wisdom. And it's such a fucking ridiculous
I remember
movie.
loving it. It was good though. The tweebs were buff and cool looking, and Wade, his hair, it was luscious.
Yeah. Yeah. Super weird having a crush on future alternate reality tweebs. Was uncomfortable. But they were super cool. They made like a
nice,
ship
too.
that they like named after Kim,
and they were
because
really
they missed her because she was lost in the time stream, and like they were like mature, and it's like, oh god.
You're like, what
are these feelings?
What happens when people get mature?
But at the end of the day, obviously, they succeed. Mm-hmm. They save time, and everything's normal again. But it was really cool getting to see why it is that Ron is useful, and kind of how him and Kim's relationship is valuable, especially to her saving the world. Monique also becomes super badass.
Oh,
she
hell yeah, girl.
trains and fights, and
fuck yes.
Her hair is also great. She wears like a sweatband and has two little like pom-pom balls on the top of her head.
Oh,
super
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's so early 2000s. It hurts.
Hurts in a good way. Nostalgia.
Hurts in such a good way. To kind of wrap up why I love Kim as a character.
Yes.
She is a strong, like, type A personality. She knows what she wants. She's very truthful. And even though she is a badass spy, she also has normal problems like boys and gossip and getting embarrassed and wanting to be liked and all those issues that we as young people can totally connect with, especially at that time when I was watching the show. It also did a really good job at showing the negative sides of her personality. So how she can be arrogant and self-centered and jealous and a perfectionist, and she can be very superficial at times too. It gives her more depth. Mm-hmm. And they weren't afraid to show her as being not likable all the time, because there are definitely some episodes where you're just like, geez, Kim, like, tone it. Like, tone it down. It's
reel it back.
Yeah, reel it in. I also loved her style. Fashion icon Kim Possible, I guess.
She'd be very trendy now.
She would be super, super trendy now. As we mentioned, long sleeve crop top with cargo pants, just such a look when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. I wanted to dress as her, but definitely would not.
Yeah.
Would not have flown with my parents or with who I was at the time.
You're like, my confidence wasn't there for that outfit.
She also has her main catchphrases, which were definitely in my vocabulary, which was no big, so not the drama, and what's the sitch?
I remember so not the drama. That was like my personal fave.
It's so not the drama.
I remember not using it correctly at all.
That's fair.
Situationally, young Fonda didn't know how to use the cool lingo.
No. Yeah, I feel like the minute you are trying to use like new cool slang, you are immediately not cool.
Yeah.
Actually, they did that in Clueless. I want to say it was Clueless, where the director was trying to come up with slang that teens were using, but he's like, the minute that you go and find real slang and put it in your movie, you age your movie. So they made up a bunch of new slang, just like this show did, which made it seem like it was kind of like semi-timeless. But then, of course, the kids who watched it tried to use it and probably failed.
Yep.
I also enjoyed watching Kim's growth from being just a girl who wanted to help people doing babysitting and little jobs like that to somebody who went on to save the world, while also having to deal with like embarrassment and like family stuff,
Actual
and
people shit.
like people problems that did make it so relatable to its audience, which is clearly shown in how popular it is and in how many people enjoy it and have fond memories of the show. We also get a fair amount of representation for the time. There are characters of color, there are different body types. One of her friends, I believe his name is Felix, was in a wheelchair, which was super awesome and like pimped out. I'm pretty sure he fought a dude named Motor Ed, who was super obsessed with monster trucks, because fuck, why not?
Why not, man?
So the show did do a pretty like decent job of that. Again, especially for the time.
Yep, all bringing it back to what it did for the time that it was aired.
Yeah, all the main characters were still white, but like Monique was black and Wade was black and Bonnie was Latina, I think.
I remember her having...
She had darker brown skin and brown hair,
skin,
which was all spiky and really cool looking.
Yes.
I did like her hair.
I know, she had nice hair. It's just
Bonnie.
like the women.
The women, this, and that too, like this show has so many, it has a lot of female characters. There was one female villain named Adrenaline who like kidnapped Ron at some point, and she was cool, and so she does have like a decent amount of like female villains, which a lot of times we don't get up either. So the whole show itself just is something that I do remember so fondly, and I do have such like an interesting connection to, that getting to do this research has really been just so fun, and
Good.
I have loved the research on this episode. It's been great.
It's been a ride. That's why you love Kim Possible.
So that's why I love Kim Possible. She's just cool. She's awesome. There will be a Shigo episode. Just,
I look forward to this.
yeah. Back when fan cons were a thing, my husband and I went to Fan Expo Vancouver, and there was 2 women dressed as Kim Possible and Shigo.
Oh,
And they looked very good.
I miss conventions.
I know.
One day they'll be back.
One day.
They're kind of back. They're virtual, which is a different thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I miss getting to go. I like
The
playing in
physical-
cosplay and stuff and doing that stuff. So
Yeah.
hopefully they will come back one day.
Just have to wait. Because
to
it's
be
the
patient.
time of COVID.
So Fonda, what are you excited about?
Well, Alison, I'm currently excited about the Netflix TV series Carmen Sandiego.
Ooh.
So they're up to season 3. I finished watching it. Loved it. Wish it had more episodes in season 3, but that's okay. I really like the show a lot because I never really got to watch the old cartoon show actively.
Yeah.
Nor did I get to play the game because I know there was a computer game for it that I never got to explore.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited because it's really educational. I like the art style, the animation that's going into it. I think that the characters they're exploring is really neat. I like how all of the characters are different and diverse. And it's because that's the whole thing of the show, is like they're exploring the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're dealing with all of those things, and you're learning about the different cultures and the countries. At the same time, like, it's more in depth than I remember the original show was, where you just had to find Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah.
it's still like they have a catchy song that everyone should listen to called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego with all the voice actors. It's really, really good. If you're a fellow Critical Role fan, Liam O'Brien voice acts for one of the villains, and he does a little singy bit. But I just really like it, and every time a new season comes out, I get really stoked, and I want to binge watch it, but I shouldn't, because I just want to enjoy it.
I want to take my time.
God damn it. Fuck binging. It gets me every time.
I'm enjoying this show too aggressively.
Anyways, you can find us wherever podcasts can be found. Please make sure to rate and subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram at Wench Bench Pod. And if you want to reach out, you can send us an email at wenchbenchpod@gmail.com. All the art for the Wench Bench was designed by the wonderful Tessa Joyce Riecken. You can find her on Twitter and Instagram at WearVile. And definitely check her out. She has nice art.
Yeah.
Just saying. But anyways, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, this will be fine if I just do this like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is this good enough here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Wait, it's gotta come out. Yeah, okay. Hold this. Because it doesn't want in here, right?
Yeah.
Not working?
No, it's fine. I was laughing about just you in general.
Wow.
Oh! Fuck!
Because you could have literally asked me,
I
hey,
think
do you
he's
have
a
your
blue
phone
fox.
on you for the...
Nick is a blue fox.
Yeah.
Now I'm not gonna leave. Because you called me a blue fox, apparently.
Yeah.
I could have literally asked you what?
Oh, you could have asked me if I had my phone like through the door. You didn't necessarily have to like open the door.
What does it matter? It's a sheet.
Doesn't matter.
Fuck. It's your fucking sheet.
What were we talking about?
We were going over, I don't remember.
I don't either. It's okay.